So at Mercer, I do a variety of things. I conduct three choirs. I conduct the University Choir, the Women's Chamber Choir, and also the Mercer Singers. I teach courses in conducting on the undergraduate level. There are two of those I teach. I also teach courses in graduate conducting and private lessons. And then I wear the Associate Dean's hat part of the time, so I have some administrative responsibilities as well. This is my 28th year of teaching at Mercer, which is rather hard to believe, but year 28, yes. I would have to say, as a conductor, I love my ensembles greatly, but the class that I really get the most enjoyment out of is basic conducting. And the reason for that is I have the opportunity to work with students, many who've never conducted before, and to begin to see that some of those students have some skill and some talent in that area, and kind of see a bit of myself of when I was that age as well, and the opportunity how they have to grow beyond just basic conducting patterns and things they have to do. It had to be the students. I've been around Mercer a long time as a teacher, and obviously having been here as an undergraduate student. And so it's the relationships and the opportunity to be a mentor, and the opportunity to see relationships grow and flourish, and to watch students go from point A to B to C to D, and how they develop in their musicianship as during their career here at Mercer. I think most of us who start out in music often begin thinking in one direction. And so as a young guy of 16, 17, and 18, I was thinking more of probably being a solo artist, whatever that was going to be at that time. But once I began to work as a student and in choirs, and began to find a new depth of music making that was beyond me. It's the excitement of making music that is totally beyond myself. So I tell my students that conductors are pretty much useless people from the standpoint of making music. I can wave my hands all day long, but there's no music in the hands. The music is what happens of the people that are in front of you. And the more I developed as a musician, and the more that I studied, even into my master's and my doctoral work, I realized that that was my passion. And my passion was the opportunity to work with other people to make music, rather than just me making the music myself as an individual. The way I approach teaching conducting is that I don't try to have everybody to conduct in my image. There are those, I think, who teach, who try to have everyone to look exactly the same way that they do, and which is completely unfair. I'm 6'2". I have students who are 5'2", and just body shape and body size all goes into that, and as well as an individual's innate musicality. And so the way that I would shape a phrase, or the way that I would approach a score may be very different than another student. So the way that I approach is I try to help students to have a set of tools, and the tools would be what I call these default settings. The default settings would be a set of tools so that they are able to communicate what it is that they want to hear from their ensemble. Many years ago, there was a conductor who taught at Florida State. His name was Rodney Eichenberger. And Dr. Eichenberger had a video out. This is probably back in the 80s. And the title of that video was, "What They See is What You Get." And so many times as young conductors, we do things that are antithetical to the very best of our music making. So my approach to conducting is helping students learn to use gesture, and gesture is all that we do, from our hands to our face, the way that we breathe, the way you hold our posture, all that comes into play. So I try to help them to hone their skills in a way that they're able to communicate musically without having to use our voice. It's nonverbal communication. And that's in rehearsal as well as in performance as well. So ACDA is a professional organization of musicians, from children's choirs to collegiate choirs to community choirs to church choirs and everything in between. So the way our structure is set up in the American Choral Directors Association, or ACDA, is that we have 6 different regions, and those regions work somewhat autonomously in that there is a major convention every 2 years, and then on the opposite of those 2 years is a national convention. So part of the responsibility for the person who is elected as president of that organization is to basically do the training and prepare for the putting together of that particular conference every couple of years. And so it's a 6-year responsibility. You have 2 years as president elect, 2 years as president, and then 2 years as past president. And during the 2 years that you're president is 2 years that you're really doing the bulk of preparing for that. The way that occurs is former presidents basically nominate a slate of folks to be considered by the Southern region to be considered for to run as president, and then generally there's a nomination of 2 individuals, and then the Southern region voted on that. So I was very much honored to be first of all considered, but second of all to be elected to serve in that role. So it's a very humbling experience. A lot of work with a lot of wonderful volunteer individuals, but at the same time it's a very humbling that your colleagues from across the Southern region would recognize you in that way. There are times as a musician, and as a more specific as a choral director, that you will hit these. It may be in the middle of a rehearsal, it may be in a concert, it may be a major work, it may be a particular selection that you're working on, it may be page 8, it might be measure 33, and that could be in rehearsal or a concert, and you just have these moments of transcendence that you can't explain. It's this wonderful sense of harmony, or it may not even be harmony. It may be a unison line that's sung so beautifully by an ensemble, or so simply by an ensemble, that transcends all of the struggle and the strife and the day-to-day that we put through, and for just one moment, or maybe a series of moments that become minutes, that become an entire concert, that you are able to escape the heaviness of this world, and you see these beautiful faces that are singing back at you. Conductors always have projects and events. So we got a couple things. So obviously with, we're 5 weeks left in the semester. So at the end of the semester, I have lots of concerts. We're doing, Women's Chamber Choir has a standalone concert at the end of the year. Mercer Singers has their annual farewell concert where we, kind of wrap up the end of the year, say farewell to the seniors of that particular group. Also, the University Choir Choral Society ensemble, we have a concert at the end of the year which is titled Something Old, Something New, which is kind of a unique title. And part of the reason for that is I've conducted that group off and on for 28 years, but this last stint's been about 9 years. And so this is my last semester I'm going to conduct that choir specifically. So that I can have other projects that I need to get a hold to of it. So that concert's at the end of all these are at the end of April. So we're excited about that. But there's some future things going on in the works too. Looking forward to maybe a return to Carnegie Hall in a couple of years, working on that kind of project right there, as well as some opportunities for the choir to enter some competitions and some things in the next couple of years.